everybody. Welcome back to The Road to Worship, where we bring spiritual connection to biblical knowledge. I am so excited to introduce our very first guest to the podcast. I'm very excited. I'm just going to dive straight in, and I'm going to tell you about who she is and what she does. Her name is Lynn Bunch, is joining us today. She is the founder and CEO of the Center for Intuitive Education. This is an extraordinary person that we're talking to today. This is a woman who has dared to listen to a voice deeper than fear, a voice most of us have forgotten that we even had. And she turned that voice into a life-changing calling. This is Lynn. Lynn is not your everyday educator. From a very young age, she sensed something remarkable. It was sort of a knowing, an inner wisdom, a spark that others may have dismissed. And while the world saw some sort of uncertainty, Lynn saw clarity. She trusted that inner voice and turned it into her life's mission, which is now the Center for Intuitive Education. Back in 1996, she founded what was Intuitive Development, the seed that grew into a global movement. Nearly 30 years of fierce commitment, bold truth-telling, and deep transformation work has culminated into what she now calls the ID Blueprint curriculum. This is a unique, one-of-a-kind system that helps people reconnect with their own inner wisdom to heal emotional blocks, break generational patterns, and step boldly into the life they truly desire. But that's not all. Lynn didn't stop at personal transformation. She built a thriving community. And today, her work spans to private one-to-one mentoring, dynamic group workshops, powerful certification programs for trainers worldwide, through the Center for Intuitive Education, or you'll hear from us, CIE, and even inspirational tools like her card deck and memoir to help people stay aligned with their inner truth every single day. Her style, you're going to hear it, she's bold, she's direct, and there is no fluff. She calls out the old patterns, the self-doubt, and the fear, and hands you the tools to rise above them. Many say you'll either fall in love with her or you'll find her to be too real. But there's one thing nobody can ever question: her unwavering dedication to helping others claim their power. Everybody, welcome Lynn.
Oh, that almost brought me
Hi.
to tears, Chase.
Oh
My
man,
gosh,
I'm
that
glad you
was
liked it.
amazing. Thank you so much.
You're
No,
so
I mean, talk
welcome.
about an intro, but bum. I mean, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
that was
Well, we got to
fabulous.
tell the truth.
I
Can't be
just
here
love
lying
that.
to people, you know?
No, you are, and I love that you give me the permission, even in the intro, that I am bold, and sometimes I am a little too much, um, and you respect that, and you know
Absolutely.
that that's who you got on here. So I
Right.
love we're going to get there. We're going to go deep. You can ask me anything. He asked me, starting with this, is there anything that you can't? I said, no, nothing's
Yeah.
off limits. If I stumble from it, you go, okay, I gotta realign here and go, okay, wow, that one was a really deep one, but
Yeah, well, our family
nothing
here
you
at Road
can't
to
talk to
Worship
me
will
about, Chase.
know. They'll know that we know each other.
That's true.
We've gone deep, and we'll
Yes,
go
we
even
have.
deeper if we have to. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I've worked with Lynn for the last year and a half or so, and actually done this blueprint and this curriculum, and it has been completely life changing. It's been something that has improved my life in ways that I can now improve other people's lives, which I think is a
Oh,
really
that's beautiful.
pivotal and awesome component to 2025 that I can give credit to Lynn and her team for just being so thoughtful and patient with me as I've had my own journey in life, and she and her team's been there to support it. And I wanted to start off with asking you, from your perspective, from people like me who will work through the curriculum on their own time, on just figuring out their life,
Yeah,
essentially,
right.
how to gain access to their intuition, their natural human instinct again. From your perspective, what is something that in your life that makes you smile when it comes to teaching others this curriculum? What makes you happy?
Honestly, that's a great question, because there's so many things, just watching people um really understand themselves and have a different level of clarity. But I know this is going to be maybe a little cliche, but the
We love
clarity
cliche.
of their own aha moment, like when a person goes, whoa,
Mm,
we call them the aha moments. There's something that happens when you're discussing your life, when you're looking at it, that, the good, bad, and the ugly, right? Because the truth is we have our humanity, I'll call it the human parts of us that,
Right.
maybe gets off course sometimes and gets out of alignment with your own center, your own inner wisdom, your divine wisdom is what I would call it, right?
Yeah.
So when you
Has
get off course with that, when I'm working with somebody, it comes together in such an aha way. And it's
mm,
like click. And when I see that, I go, oh my gosh, bring on 200 more. It doesn't,
yeah.
it's such I don't know how to explain it. You have to know the experience of it. And when it
Mm,
happens between me and someone else, or when I see it happening with somebody that has done the work and went, oh my gosh, that's something that I never knew I needed. And it changed my life. That's why I do what I do. That,
mm,
that truly is why I do it, and have been doing it for 30 years. I mean, it's a
yeah.
long time.
Wow.
You talked about intuitive development. That's really where it started, though.
Right.
I'm the founder of that, right? That's the parent company, I guess, is what you would call it.
Yeah.
And what I realized is we developed intuitively this foundation for the coursework that the Center for Intuitive Education is now taking and educating people with. So we developed the curriculum with me and my teammates over all these years, and then the education piece, because I really believe what's lacking right now is people want to make intuition some crazy phenomenon, and it's the most natural, the most it's that quiet essence of you. It's the trusting at a deep level of part of you that you absolutely know is there, but you
Mm,
may not have been able to reach it because you went into fear or you had the pain of something, all of the
sure.
things that Chase. So
Yeah.
you know me, I'll go whatever direction you want
A
to take
thousand
me in.
percent. Yeah. So it's the fact that you have gone through it yourself. I mean, just in life, as you've
100%.
developed it, that you're able to take part in somebody else's joy in finding those things. And this isn't easy. Like, this curriculum
No,
is not, it's not for the faint of heart. It is something that is calling you to be so brutally honest and real with yourself and where you're at now. But from my experience with it, it allows you to dream for the future and what you can do after you feel or more become spiritually aligned. You've
right.
become more
Well
willing to
stated.
listen to what your natural self has to say about what you're doing and what you're participating in. Whether if
Right.
you're living in doubt or living in fear, or if you're living in your wisdom and you're living in a spiritually influenced life, which is what we're working towards getting here on this podcast.
Well stated. I have to say, because there's not a part of us that is, I don't believe that we're out of touch with our intuition. I feel like we're maybe have quieted it
Okay.
because everything else was too loud, or too, the
Suppressed it, maybe?
pain was too loud, or the struggles in life were too loud. So we intentionally, kind of shoved it down. It's there, always has been. It's a matter of like releasing and letting go and being responsible for when you did quiet it, when you made made a left when you should have kept going straight, or you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Intuition is not it's not some, by the way, I want to maybe define intuition the way I use it. So intuition is the messaging system from God, source, spirit, the inner, some guys call it gut instinct. I
Mm-hmm.
don't define, I define it as divine wisdom, right? So that it's that which is greater than you. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go through this. But the definition of that is so personal to everybody. And it's
Yeah.
so important that we are making sure that when you're listening intuitively, it's not a psychic phenomenon. It's not something that is every little, look at a little baby when they're first born, from a little baby to, high performing, executives,
Mm-hmm.
they listen to that voice. Well, that voice doesn't, it's not something you necessarily hear, or that knowing, or that hint, that hunch. That's your intuition that's trying to get the message back to you. We pray to God, we pray to source. You got to listen.
Right.
And intuition is the ability to listen. So we are talking about developing that ability, or remembering, I should really say. And
Right.
I want to educate people about intuition being a natural a natural part of you that you have maybe forgotten, maybe shoved down, maybe said, no, I don't want to hear it because, I'm going to be called forth to do an action that's going to clear something and have me
Sure.
be responsible as a human being, right? In what I'm choosing to create and co-create with our creator.
So it's not necessarily something that you have to be kind of that, woo woo kind of spiritual kind of person. I'm blanking on kind of your adjectives for it.
No, it's a great, but
But
that's the whole thing.
it's
Is like you take the woo woo out
but
of
it's
it. In
a
fact,
it's a
it's
down to
far
earth
from woo
thing.
woo.
Like it's just the way
Yes.
to live life as your intuitive self.
It's natural. It's authentic. It's instinctual.
Mm,
Like I said, a baby's first breath, they have that to all the way to high performing. If you don't lose it, then you're functioning from listening to that part of you that is really source energy, God, spirit, saying, hey, go in this direction. It's like
sure.
having the best, an unwounded parent that is guiding you,
Right.
right? Because let's be clear, we're flawed as human beings. We just are.
Hmm.
And it's a matter of knowing where that's at and not judging the flaws or the indiscretions that we've had, or the missteps, I should say, in our humanity, because we make
Right.
mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're human, right? But
Totally.
it's about really being able to not judge that and get yourself back into an aligned space so that intuition can guide you, and that higher sense of wisdom can be in the driver's seat of it.
That point of your mistakes or the things that you fall short of isn't necessarily something to be scared of, or is it something to even avoid, but it's something on what it's the blueprint is something on what you can use to move through what those mistakes are, or what those shortcomings are, whatever you want to call them, rather than it being the tool to avoid them. Nobody's going to live a perfect life, and so it's how you're going to
That's
move
100%.
through the
Yeah.
tough things. Yeah, which
Yeah.
leads me to the next question I wanted to ask you, because on this podcast we hold the idea of bringing spiritual connection to biblical knowledge to live a
Mhm.
spirit-led life, just like I was saying
Yes.
in our intro. And with this education to be spiritually connected, for you, Lynn, how has your spiritual connection added value or improved your life's pursuit, and even teaching others on how to do the same?
It's everything. I mean, I consider myself an intuitive educator, right? So I really
Right.
want to educate people about what I believe is your most valuable resource that in any given time you can come to, because you're the only one that can listen to that, and that part of you that says, okay, what are the responsibilities that I have as a spiritual being to educate and to be a contribution. So
Right.
my contribution is educating people about this intuition part, and taking all the woo woo out of it, and all the mysticism, and all the, everybody, people say to me, well, is it more in line with religion, or is it more in line with, more of a scientific? And I go, it's both, because it's a
Yeah.
tool. I don't define it for you. When you take these courses, when you take these modules, and it starts populating really what's called a ID blueprint. So it's kind of a pun, because it's Intuitive
Right.
Development was the
Yeah.
founding company, right? But it's also your ID. So
Mhm.
and it's I call it your soul's blueprint, right? So the ID blueprint curriculum is based upon, how does your soul come into this experience of life, and know that you have all these human missteps, you've got to have forgiveness of self, you have to forgive others. I mean,
Mm.
we have things that happen, challenges that happen in our life, and this actually, when you go through it, you learn so much about yourself that there's nobody that has to tell you to be accountable, because you already know it. So it's a language of personal accountability with the spirit of your soul
Mm.
emerging as a human being, and saying, okay, how do I be responsible for my own creation, and for my own way in which I'm going to interpret or live consciously, with my alignment with our co-creator, right? With God, with source, whatever somebody's true calling is. And I truly believe, I've said this to you. I mean, road to worship, I'm like, yes, sign me up. Like I've said that to you, Chase,
Yeah.
because I absolutely know that you have to educate people about a part of them that maybe is unclear for them. And
Mm.
you're just giving them information that maybe is more palpable, to hear it from your voice, and to hear it from your soul. And that's what I believe is a huge calling for you, as
Yeah.
mine has been,
Yeah.
to do it the way I'm doing it. There was years ago, I was like, well, why can't I become like a minister or something, or a pastor or somebody like that? Because then it's kind of defines it a little bit more.
Mhm.
And it was because it just wasn't my calling to do it that way. This is my calling to take education or to take intuition and educate people. And it's kind of put me in a little bit of a predicament sometime, which is the whole reason why I'm a lot.
Sure.
And the predicament, I mean, you can even speak to that, like, okay, well, I'm like, you have to kind of get to know me, I guess. You have to take the coursework to know that it's not trying to define anything for you. You're going to emerge with a deeper sense of faith and a deeper sense of self reflection because of you, not because of the product. Does that make sense?
No,
The
that totally
product
makes sense.
merges with the two to make you. And when I say faith, I don't even mean faith in a spiritual teaching. It's a faith in who you are as a spiritual being,
Right.
which I think is, I mean, isn't that why we're here?
Totally.
It's one of the
Yeah.
reasons.
Oh, exactly. It is something really interesting to think about in regards to, I think, just finding your life purpose in general, living a spirit-led life, which is something we talk about a lot in the curriculum of just, which is why it's so hard for people because, like you said, you're forcing people to think. You're forcing them to find the answers for themselves. I think we're so used to, with the internet being what it is now and even AI building as fast as it is, we're so used to just being fed the answers and being fed the solutions when at our core, that's not really what we need, yet that's what we give ourselves. And so the critical thinking and the connection to what your intuition is and how honest it can really be, we're so disconnected from it. When you were talking earlier about not being fully separated from your intuition, but being, but kind of silencing it, I would even say suppressing it. That's where I was at the very least when it came to what I wanted my career to be and how I wanted to help people. I wasn't listening to it. I was just listening to what other people thought life should be. But because I wasn't in my Bible like I should be, and I wasn't serving God the way that I knew I could, I was literally suppressing and actively forcing down the voice in me that needed to speak. And so through this time, it was able to find that. And the fact that that's possible for anybody, like, doesn't matter what position you're in. You can be in your, late 30s, early 40s doing a career change. It could be you're about to retire. It can be you're a teen looking to find which college to go to, if you want to go to college at all. If it's breaking just these generational curses that your family has and you're trying to adopt yourself out of that. It can be, whatever situation you're in, there is always time for you to find what your true life's purpose is. And like you said, the curriculum that we're talking about, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
It
your,
is just a tool.
and it's not sold as, this is not your end all be all. This is
Nope.
not if you're not taking it, your life is over. No, like, that's not.
And it's not the only way.
No,
That's
not
what
at
people
all,
to go,
but
no, it's a tool that actually will enhance what you are already participating
Exactly.
in at a
Yeah.
deeper level. So,
Which
wow.
also forces people taking it to not rely on it, like, in that way. Like,
Right. There's no dependency here.
you
Yeah.
can't
No.
you can't build a house with one screwdriver. Like, you have to use all of life to figure life out. There's a
And it
there's a
plays
phrase there
into
we got to
it.
come up with, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There is a phrase that we should come up with that, because
Yeah.
I have to say, everything that you just were talking about it with, it's the tool that actually you can layer it, but you can't deny yourself in it. Does that make sense? You will know who you are, and where you were talking about how suppressing and different things like that, all these tools. I mean, we have obviously support, right? We have trainers and that help you kind of get through it, so you can talk it through and drill farther down, because it's an online program. But it's very you can't hide from the part of you that knows who you are at a deep core level, even if you haven't seen it in a while. So I loved how you said, and this is for anybody, you could be 40-year-old that's making it, needs a relationship, taking it because they're having some relationship issues. You're going to make a difference in all of the areas, because there's 6 main areas that we actually talk about. So Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special thing, and I'm happy that you just shared so much about the company of itself and what your guys'
Yeah.
mission is. And I really do believe it is a tool that can help anybody who takes it find the thing that will make their life worth living. And again,
Well, and we talked
it's
about the
just
life
a
purpose. Yeah.
right,
Mine
yeah,
is
and
movement to higher
it's just a
consciousness.
tool,
What
and
does
so
that
it's
look like?
right,
Yeah.
but it's the thing that'll help you get there. And I
Yes.
say that full confidence because it's helping me get there. And so
Well, and you're applying it too. You know,
as best I
you're
can.
applying all of the things, the tools to it. And that's what I think is you became even just more I guess the word I would say is more receptive to your own self.
Mm,
Like, is that even, I mean, is that a way to say that? You know, you're more
yeah,
receptive to what it is that you need and how you need to be and how
right.
you need to function in your world in order for you to live your life purpose.
Right.
Um,
It's expansive
yeah, there
in
you go.
regards to perspective for sure. Shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah, please.
This kind of came to mind last second. Can you talk about a time where God, intuition,
Mhm.
spoke to you and you felt like if you didn't listen, it would have been the biggest mistake of your life. Like
Yeah.
was there a moment
Oh,
where
sure.
you caught this message and it was like, this is a defining moment and there is a right decision and there's a hard decision. Can you think of a time or tell us a little bit about if and when that happened for you?
100%. So, it was actually starting this and doing this for a living.
Okay.
So it was I always knew that I was intuitive when I was a child. I knew that a lot of people, I mean, we all are intuitive, but there was a point in which I was like, ooh, this is like, I'm really hearing, I'm not hearing, I'm really knowing the messages are coming to me and that I'm being called forth to contribute with a different level of non-judgment, I guess would be that I wasn't even judging what was coming to me and I wasn't judging anybody else or feeling judged. But at some level, I was like, ooh, I don't know if everybody is kind of in tune like I am. And so I did a lot of self-judgment and I shut it down for a long time. And then there was a point in which I was, ready to, I was having, I was married, I was having my second child actually. And I was in that place where I was like, okay, I was doing bookkeeping and accounting work. That's really what I did for, that was the accuracy I needed to have in that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this point, and it was like, you have to now take this and contribute this and awaken that part of you that you had shut down when you were a child. And I got to tell you, Chase, I was like, no, no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm gonna look, do I need to? I actually was like, okay, I'll go back and get my license in psychology. But I knew if I did that, the message was super strong for me that if I did that, it would come from because I'm very analytical. Obviously, I told you about the bookkeeping and accounting part.
Right.
I'm a very analytical person anyway. So it was separating the part of me that was really being intuitively guided by what I absolutely know to be God within me. I know that was telling me like this has to get out there in such a way that is not structured for it has to be in the structure of the person taking it. Does that make
Mm.
sense? It has to come from their heart. It has to come from their yearning, their desire to know themselves better and to be better because of that. Does that make sense? On
Makes
a
sense.
soul level, on a human level. And I knew I was the one that needed to, move forward with this. And I have been blessed beyond measure to have the right people in my life at the right time. My sister was one of them starting this out and is still, by the way, obviously around. Oh my gosh, I have this wonderful fly that wants to be around. Chase, what
Really
is that?
quick, let's talk about this fly real
This
quick because
fly, I'm telling you,
there's
it's
a
the
history to this
distraction of
fly.
the fly.
Talk about this fly because
Okay.
it's in the many of the one-to-one sessions that
I
we've
mean,
had.
no
This
joke.
specific fly has just come back time and time again. Is it the
Yes.
same
And
fly? I think flies die pretty fast. It might be a different fly at
flies
this
do die.
point.
It can't be the same one. But I
No.
have to tell you, so maybe it's talking about that. So I see sometimes when that occurs that it's really about literally being distracted and not having it Because think about it. If something's happening, landing on you, something's in your space, something's getting between you and I, even in this, it's so about the humanity of the distractions that keep us from staying focused and even able to stay focused.
Yeah.
So I know this sounds crazy that we're going to talk about a fly in that way, but truly it's kind of like it is the symbol of what we were just talking about, that takes us off course. And there's so many things that do. But when we get farther away from our own true essence and who we are supposed to be, when I started, I was like, there's no way I'm going to do this. And I was just saying to you, very analytical by nature, was that way in school. And I'm like, okay, I'll get my degree in psychology. But I knew it would be it would come from the education, and it had to come from my heart and my soul. And I thought, I'm going to look like a nut. Like this is not gonna, how am I going to do this? And I had fears around that. How am I going to do this to where I'm not, basically I'm going to be either seen as this crazy, psychic nut job that, somebody's going to go, or they're going to go, oh my gosh, you're this religious, person. And this is that bold part that's a little too much sometimes. And I was like, I'm not either one of those. I'm a person that knows that I'm guided to do this. And I'm telling you, I fought it. I fought it for a long time. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to have the whatever judgment people are going to make. And trust me, over 30 years, I've had judgment on both sides. People are like, oh my gosh, you're too religious. And I have others that go, you're not religious enough. It's too. And I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't about me. This isn't about my truth. I'm not teaching you my truth. I'm giving you tools so that you can live your truth. And Chase, it was very, very conflicting for me, but that was the moment when I was like, okay, I'm going to say yes. And it could make me to tears almost, because I was like, what do I call this? And I literally looked at my oldest son and I said, I have to make a business here. And do you know that he was young. I was driving him to school and he said intuitive development. And I was like,
you never
what?
told me that.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I mean, Jacob certainly does. So my oldest son,
you heard
Jacob,
it here first, everybody.
Yeah, he actually said, I don't think I've talked about it. I mean, he knows again.
Yeah.
But he said, what about intuitive development, Mom? And I looked at him and I'm like, that's it. Wow. Because I was developing a different way to see intuition that didn't have to be limited by somebody else's structure or belief system. And you need to bring your belief system into this, and you will expand greatly on it. And I always say the only most important thing is that you have to have a higher power. You have to actually know that there's something greater than you, because if you don't, you can get lost in that.
Sure.
So that's crucial for me. I kind of went off on a little tangent, but that's when it happened. And I was, it was 30 years ago. And then I started my company and opened a business. And I got to tell you, I've been through some, so I've had some battle scars through this. That's for sure, Chase. And you obviously know me well, so you know some of them.
No, you definitely, the life that you have led has brought clarity and insights to you so that you can do the same for others. And that's something that that's
well stated. That's what I call an experience. I believe myself to be an experiential teacher, meaning I'm going to go through it first, guys.
Right.
I don't teach anything that I haven't gone through.
Yeah. There was a time in my life that I think I talk about this podcast, if not, how to do it soon, where I was diagnosed with a couple disorders back when I was 19, so quite a few years ago. And it was a time in my life where it was kind of everything was crashing in on me moment, where I'm in this transitionary time in life where I'm in college trying to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. Small questions, And,
yeah, right.
And being hit hard with these kind of debilitating
the stress that you had to, and
just an immense amount of stress.
With the amount of things
I was doing, it was a lot. And there was one prayer that I would repeat off and off, or over and over and over again. And it was like I couldn't get up out of bed. I wasn't eating, kind of depression. Like it was the Chase should not live alone time, where it was just, it was concerning. My parents were terrified. I'm the firstborn of my family, and God, my parents, they didn't know how to handle this. Like, you're not, and not to their fault, but it's a first experience. So it was terrifying for my family and my siblings as well. And so as I'm kind of navigating this, and then COVID hit right after, and so it was just a rough time. The prayer that I would say all the time is, God, I please don't waste this experience on me. That's what I would say all the time. And I'd say, God,
say more about that.
Let me help somebody else through this too.
Oh, I love that.
I would think, I'm getting chills thinking about it.
I know, me too. Yeah.
I feel like this experience would be wasteful if I couldn't. And I'm telling you, Lynn, as soon as I kind of got over the biggest hurdle, the biggest hump, and I was able to get off my medication, and I was in therapy, and I was doing the things I needed to do to process through that side of life, I kid you not, somebody in my life came up and was having similar problems, and I got to help them through it.
That's the full circle moment.
That is the complete full circle of being able to help somebody else.
Contribution.
Yes.
Yeah. We're not going through this and honestly, that actually makes sense, because that's how I felt. Like there was something like, okay, how am I going to do this? And it's like, well, you're going to leap off the edge here and know that you got some wings or something that are going to grab you and keep you from falling fully. It really, and I know that you have been a proponent for healing, and we've talked about negative ancestral patterns, and we've talked about how, it doesn't go away, but it doesn't have to be right front and center to you. And you were able to heal at such a level that you can own it without being it, right? So it'll knock on the door every once in a while. And when it does, you have the tools to go, okay, here's some action steps that I need to take.
Let's talk about that a little bit. About being able to own something about you, but not having to be it. I think in our society, especially in my age group, I say it all the time. Everything that we feel that's negative just becomes us, whether if we are naturally wake up late, or if we are depressed, or if we have anxiety, if we're diagnosed with it or not. If we have ADHD, like all of the things that are, that can be difficult in somebody's life that somebody has to manage. What I have seen in my age group and my generation is, that's now who I am. And I have to carry that with me as my face all the time. I'm probably gonna get controversial here. I don't think that's what you should do. I'm not saying you need to hide it. I wasn't hiding my problems.
Well, you can't hide it.
You can't hide it.
People that know you, actually, you could fake it for a while, but at some point
it won't last long. I could promise you, because I tried to fake it too.
Okay.
And so like you have these problems, or you have these components about yourself that you don't like.
Behaviors. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
issues.
It's possible to not make it who you are. How do you do that?
Well, first, I mean, for me, I call them negative because they're negative, right? It's not like we're not talking about the positive aspects of our humanity, but they're negative. They do come from ancestral lines, right? And they're patterns. So for me, I call them negative ancestral patterns in our curriculum. That's how I refer to them. And those are exactly some of the things that you've talked about: addiction, depression, poverty, mental illness. Let's see, what are some others? Incarceration, right? Some people who have incarceration.
Infidelity is another big one.
What is it?
Infidelity is another big one.
Infidelity is a huge one. And a lot of times people will go, oh, well, there's infidelities, so-and-so cheated on this person. I go, hold on a second. I go, your parent, maybe, let's make something up. Maybe the parents had infidelity, right? And they got divorced, and and we all judge their infidelity. Like, what a horrible thing that happened. And it ruined our family. And as long as you hold the judgment there, it passes down. It continues. If you could see it and go, yep, there it is. That was a life lesson that was brought to you. That was maybe a misstep, a failure for them as far as who they are as a human being. Did they learn from it? Have they grown from it? Are they owning it, as in, okay, I'm going to take ownership and accountability for what happened, and that I didn't do it in such a way that was genuine and authentic and integral. That's on them. But what happens is when it gets passed down and it gets judged, there's no way to heal from that. It stops the flow of actually people learning and growing from it, and knowing that you could have infidelity. Let's say the parents had it, and now you're unfaithful in your money, right? So the 6 areas that we talk about, finance is one of them, time, health, support. I've got all 6 of them, right? But let's say you're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what my parents did. It ruined their relationship. I'm never going to be like that. And you're judging them. You might take that negative ancestral pattern.
Which I'd say is more common than you think.
It is more common. It's a lot more common. In fact,
it's not out of a bad heart. It's no, I don't want to do what there's things that my parents did that I don't want to do, even though I love them to death.
They won't
but
want
it comes
you
from
to
a place
either.
of judgment, and that's where the issue comes in.
Yes. So when you remove the judgment, which to me just means separation, when
Okay.
you remove the part of you that's like, I'm separate from them, what they did, I want no part of, there's a level of discernment. The discernment is the facts. This happened. I don't want to repeat it, right? This fact is going to give me the information I need in order for me to heal within myself. To judge something cuts off that connection, right? You can't have
Hmm.
connection to higher realms of consciousness, to God, to source. You can't have connection when you're in judgment. And we judge all the time, by the way. Like we judge, every single day. It's a matter of acknowledging you're in it, stopping the pattern and saying, hold
Hmm.
on, I'm in judgment here. What do I need to do? What's an action step that I need to take in order for me to,
Right.
and for me not to be accountable for this?
Yeah.
So if you don't do that, like I said, the infidelity could be like, I'm not gonna repeat what my parents did, but you actually could if you're judging it, because now you're maybe unfaithful to your health, right? Or you're unfaithful, you have infidelity in your money.
Mm.
So do you see where it can change in different
Right.
infidelity in time?
Yeah.
But they go, well, I'm not like my parents. And I'm like, well, no, you are. You
Yeah.
just aren't cheating on somebody.
Yeah.
You don't have it in relationship, but you do it in time,
Sure.
or you do it over here in finance. So when we started this, we were talking about how do you not be it, right? So
Mm.
how can you recognize it, you discern, hey, listen, I have these things that are missteps, that are flaws in me, that are my humanity, that the ego, that negative ego is just trying to, get. Or maybe you're that person that's like, I'm not that way, but you bring somebody in that is, and you
Mm.
don't know how to have strong boundaries. So that's a big one. A lot of people go, well, I would never do anything like that. And I can honestly tell you, I have never intentionally ever harmed anybody. Like I can honestly tell you that. But I'm sure I've hurt people,
Sure.
because we're humans,
Right.
and when it's brought to my attention and I do a self-assessment, I have to be careful that I don't just let everybody, okay, I'm responsible, I'm the only one. Like I have to have strong boundaries about my own free will
Hmm.
and the things that I want to create. So mine's kind of a little opposite of that,
Right.
is that I let people kind of step in, or I did let
Right.
people step in too much,
But you're
to the
not
point where I
judging
lost me.
yourself for the fact that you've hurt
Yes.
people. You're just acknowledging that that's probably what happened because you're human.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure I have,
Yeah.
because I'm a human being. We all, we don't intentionally do anything, but you can do it. And when you have that aha moment of like, wow, never saw it that way,
Yeah.
boom, clarity comes. And the clarity of the consciousness and how you're experiencing life, then it's like a flower opening up.
Mm.
It's like the sun just came out and the flower has opened up, and you have a different lease on how you're going to be in life.
Hmm.
And guess what? It'll happen again. Negative
Mm.
things do happen.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how quickly we can actually process those.
Right. I'll ask this then because there's so much uncertainty in life. You can very quickly move into these habits that could be passed down from generation to generation,
Right?
what you would
Yep.
call negative ancestral patterns
Yes.
from your
Hmm.
curriculum. So I'll use me for an example. When I am struggling in my finances, I
Yes.
tend to move into this mentality of scarcity where I feel like everything has to be tight. I'm terrified that next month is not going to happen the way I want it to. And the sense of fear and my judgment of how I've used my money or how my businesses are going are now in full play, and I'm not living in the way I want to live.
Now, I
I,
have to ask you something, because that's
okay.
perfectly said, and people are going to relate to that.
Yeah.
To use your terminology, where's God in that?
Right.
Nowhere.
Ooh.
Where's God in that, right? You haven't even taken the time.
Right.
We're in the fear, we're in the panic, and trust me, every single human can relate to this.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, every single human can relate to it. You're like, oh my gosh, well, where's God? I don't know. I have to get that paycheck and I have to go to work even when I don't want to. I mean, all of that mentality of freak out, fear, anxiety, which is one of the other ancestral, uh, behaviors that
Mm-hmm.
actually can stifle us so much. I got to tell you, where is that centeredness? Where do you go back in and say, do I need to be concerned here? Because
Mm.
I promise you, God doesn't leave you hanging.
Yeah.
You may get a message that says, you got to get action. You were too lazy here. You didn't do enough work and you got to do XYZ,
Right.
but you'll get that message if you're not in judgment of it. You
Yeah.
will actually get the message what to do. If in fact You have something that's coming down the pipeline that's like, you went too far off course. We got to get you back on course.
So
You won't be, to use terminology, you won't be forsaken in that,
right.
is my
Yeah.
point. But if we live in the fear of it, we're not even hearing what we're supposed to be doing. Like that's where the intuition is pushed down. We're not listening anymore. We're listening to that mind chatter that says, "Oh my gosh, my bank account, I did too much," and the judgment's not going to do anything to help you,
Right. So then how do
right?
you move out of that fear? Because what I have often done is waited, which we've talked about extensively, how I would wait for the fear or when I would hit the
Well,
wall.
you would use it as the motivator,
Right,
which
to
is
then
what it is.
adjust. I
Hey,
can
listen,
guarantee
get
there's
this
other people who
clearly.
do the same
Pain,
thing.
struggle. Oh, everybody does.
Right. And so
Pain,
what I'm trying to
struggle,
figure out
fear are
now,
motivators, though.
say it
They're to
again.
motivate us. Pain, struggle, and fear are motivators. They're to motivate us. And unfortunately, people are using it as the way of life. Well, I'm going to wait till the motivator comes. I'm going to wait till enough pain comes. And then I go, oh, I'm going to have to do something different. I'm going to wait till enough fear is here. And we had talked about that, Chase. And part of it is that you didn't want to take the action that you instinctually, intuitively knew to take, 3 weeks before.
Mm-hmm.
So you waited too long to where the pain or the fear is so strong that now you're like, oh, I don't have a lot of time here. Now the time elements come in. Now you're like, I got to have that difficult conversation with XYZ, or
Right.
I have to hire that employee that I'm like, a leap of faith here. Well, if Spirit of God is telling you it's time, trust. But we want to have, well, I need to have everything all written out. It's like, well, where's God in that?
Mm-hmm.
It can go both ways. Maybe
Yeah.
some of us need to have it, wait until all the finances are there. And some of us have to jump off the cliff a little bit in order for us to like really know that we're believing in our own faith. And I've had to do that both ways. One say no, the numbers aren't right, and listen to that it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's you've got to do this. You
Mm-hmm.
can't hold back. You're using your faith in, as a basically, how do I want to say this? Using our ability to hear spirit within us,
Mm-hmm.
our intuition, and our divine wisdom. We're fighting against that wisdom, that connection to God, that connection to source energy, the creator. And we're using it against us because we don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to have to really stand in our own trust
It's
of
that
what we
action
know
step.
the truth to be.
It's that action step that you can take to
Yes, sir.
ensure that you're not going to fall in judgment of something that happens just in life. I don't know what's a good example for me.
Well, let's look at your depression. I mean,
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm not going to go all the way back there to every single thing, but there's times when I guarantee
Hey, if we need to, we
knew.
can.
Okay. Well, but there's times even now that you may wake up and go, "Ooh, okay, why am I feeling that?" You'll look on your blueprint, right? We have it to where
Mhm.
it'll actually have depression in there and go,
Yep.
okay, hold on. What's the action step that will pull me out of this? And most often it's like speak up, follow through. It could be everybody's different,
Mhm.
but you can look at it and go, huh, I didn't do it. I knew to do it, but I didn't do it. And then you've got today, and then you got the next
And
day.
that's you
And so,
suppressing the intuition. You
right,
know to do it, but you didn't do it.
exactly. Which then has the motivator come into the scene called depression,
Mhm.
or the motivator called scarcity, or the motivator, called infidelity.
Mhm.
Like, you don't, again, let's look at relationship and infidelity. It doesn't just happen, right? It's something that starts to occur. There's a discipline that says, hey, there's
It's
something
something
you
that
want
grows.
that's different. Yes, there's
Yeah.
something you want that's different, and you can't align your desire with your own integrity. It's like you're having a misstep there. But if you stop and go, well, hold on a second, there's a different way for me to stay faithful to this connection that I say that I want.
Mhm.
But you have to voice it. So when sometimes it's not working and we don't voice it, then we judge ourselves for not staying committed to it. But we also aren't requiring the other person to stay committed and find some of the avenues that will keep this whole and keep this clean and keep this healthy for both of you to be in.
Mhm.
Make sense?
That makes a ton of sense.
Now,
Yeah.
if you have infidelity in the money area, it's the same thing. It's like, hold on. How am I being unfaithful to my own commitment to what I want to create financially? And that's just, again, you can't judge yourself for it. You have to go, ooh, went off course. Used
Right.
it as a motivator.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So the deeper you went to knowing yourself and to acting in such a way that you were willing to be yourself will release you from your own depression, right? Your own disconnection from your true internal messaging system. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel that?
That does make sense. And I feel it
Like, did you get away from it? Is that part of what started to happen?
I feel it because this is something I'm learning in my nutrition journey as I'm just learning to be just a healthier human being. I'm not a nutritionist, so don't take this as nutritional advice, but this is what I'm learning from a nutritionist. Your body will have a natural point of homeostasis where it's getting what it needs and it's happy and nothing needs to change. Your body's always looking for a place of neutrality. And
good to know.
In my journey to lose weight, lift things heavier, move faster, move better, I had a point of homeostasis when I was 320 pounds that wasn't the healthiest state of homeostasis. Okay. And so what I had to do is apply pressure to my body or stress in a healthy, controlled way where I'm reducing the amount of food that I was eating. In this case, for me, this was no eating out, and this was no eating after a certain period of time.
Now, was that, let me ask you something though. So were those what you would have called intuitive instinctual messages that were coming to you? Like, here's the way to get there.
Yes, because I had patterns that went against what my intuition was telling me. I knew that binge eating late at night, 2,500 calories in one sitting, wasn't the way to go, but I didn't want to get rid of it because that's where my indulgences and comfort came from. And if I were to deprive myself of comfort,
I have to bring something up because that's obvious, right? If people are like, well, you don't need intuition to tell you shouldn't binge at night. But the intuitive part is what was causing you to binge at night? Like, that's the deeper question. Mm-hmm. What were you not addressing that was causing that behavior that was starting the patterning all over again to come back upon you, right?
Right.
So it's like being willing to look at why would you want that? Why would you, because you can only eat something so much. And to the point, if you're binging it, there's something you're hiding underneath that. Right. That's the intuitive part, is what's the root?
Right. Yeah. What's the root? That's a great way to put it, because you're fixing the symptom at that point, but not the root.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Intuition guides you to the root of it.
Exactly.
Because you're really getting the message. Basically, you're getting the message from source energy that says, hey, here's at the root. If you fix the root, you won't want that to do that. You won't use that as a motivator anymore.
Right. And the root which is what we learned, I'm avoiding things by wanting to numb what I was feeling. And the reason why I bring all that side of me up is once I removed the numbing or the avoiding behavior, I then was able to reset my point of homeostasis, where I don't need as much food now to last through the day and not be hangry and an awful person, because I get quite snippy and very short fused when I'm hungry. Right. And I reached this new point, and I'm kind of in this middle phase now with my nutrition, where I'm in a good spot to where I've made a lot of progress and I'm ready to hit the next level, because I have now reached this new homeostasis point within my journey. And so now
you're balancing, your body has reached it. So it's no longer using the motivator to ping you to say, hey, because you're not avoiding things.
Yes. The motivator is now my red flag. When I want to eat late at night, which is progress, right? And so when I feel like I need to eat late at night, let's say I'm working late or I was out and whatnot. Now I come home and I want to go to Wingstop, plug, and just eat, with the 20 for 20, which was a common order of mine. I now see that as, oh, something is off. I need to
See,
go.
I love that. That's what I'm.
Right.
That's what the
Do I need to
blueprint
go
says.
to
If
bed? Do I
something's
need to go
off, what
drink
do I need
water?
to?
Do I need to go do something else? Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
the
or
new
is there
point.
something emotionally that I wasn't able to speak up about in the earlier
Exactly.
part of the evening, right? So
Right.
so we talk about emotions are crucial, emotionally, physically, because it can be a physical thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, right? Something mentally that you're spinning in your head about that you weren't able to, or it could be spiritual.
Right.
And the spiritual aspect could be like, am I not being spiritually influential enough?
Right.
And that means, and hear me in the spiritually influenced, we receive spiritual influence from God, from source energy, right? Right now, you and I hope to have somebody be spiritually influenced from what we've said. Like we want them to be influenced
Exactly.
from what we
Right.
said, but not in a, we have the way, we're the only
Yeah.
people that know the truth.
Yeah.
In like, has this opened up anything in your mind that has you go, wow, I need to look a little deeper on that myself?
Mm-hmm.
So we can, and so sometimes, we tend to close our mouth, right? Well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to, how many times do we pull back when we really have to speak up? It's your road to worship. We had talked about that. Like, get out there, talk to
Mm-hmm.
people. People need to hear how the Bible is being presented from a man of 25 that has been committed to this for his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a different flavor than anything that I say.
Sure.
But it's your flavor, it's your way, and it speaks to so many different people. This is not about choosing, excuse me, Chase has the only interpretation of that, or
I
the
better
only
not.
way to. No, it certainly isn't Lynn after 30 years of going,
I better
doing this.
not.
People go, oh, well, you're an expert in your field. And I go, well, I really am an expert in my field because I've created the field. But that doesn't mean I have the only answers.
Well,
That's
that goes
for sure.
back to people depending on you for answers, not finding it
100%.
themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
And
don't
that's
do
what we
that.
do
That's
here.
really why we created the curriculum, because I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're not going to have me be some kind of, all knowing, because I'm not. I'm still a human being
Right.
that makes all kinds of mistakes daily, but I'm aware of them differently than most people. Obviously, I'm a bit more conscious.
Something I said in my first few episodes where
Yeah.
I don't really know what I'm talking about. We're just going to figure this out together. Like I'm just
That's a
researching
true
it and I'm going to
statement.
share it.
Till the day we take our last breath, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We have people
Yeah.
who just might have spent more time studying a thing, not, being a
Yeah.
true the person,
Well, can't you tell when people are coming? I mean, my whole thing is when people are, well, why should I come see you? And I go, well, I don't know. To be honest with you, like, let's have a conversation. And if there's something that I can share with you, if there's something that is like, we have to stay in our hearts,
Mhm.
because I don't have all the answers. That's for sure. But if I have something that can actually further somebody, or the curriculum that I've created with all these wonderful teammates over all these years can impact somebody, are you kidding? Of course I want to share that.
Right.
Yes, I want to share that, but not as a, I always tell people, don't beat everybody else up over, well, you should do this work because it's the right thing to stop. That's the worst thing you can do for anybody, because all you're doing is placing more of your opinion and judgment on that they're wrong.
Right.
And the truth is, we're all wrong. Like, we have all made mistakes daily. And the best we can do is go, okay, I'm going to own that. I'm going to be
Anyone who
responsible for
hasn't made a
that. I'm going to be
mistake,
accountable for
right?
that.
I've never
and I'm
made a
gonna
mistake
move
in the
on.
comments. I dare you.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to see if somebody
Right.
actually thinks they've never made a mistake. Like, really, that's probably going to show how unaware you are if you really don't. I mean, that's the whole thing. Remember when I said I'm too much, or you said I'm too much earlier? Sometimes I'm like,
Oh,
if you tell me that you
goodness.
haven't made a mistake, then,
Nothing but
listen,
love
I
here.
can humbly tell you, I don't have, I've made tons of them.
Yeah.
Things that I, if I could go back, would I change? Sure. But I can't. So
Mhm.
I have to continue to be accountable, do my fair share of clearing, having any kind of clearing conversation. I've said to people, I probably pissed you off. I probably upset you. I've probably done some things. If you want to have a conversation with me and you want to talk to me about it, I will do my very best. I promise you during that to be fully accountable for
Yeah.
anything that I have done. But I can't read your mind, and I certainly can't keep trying to be less than, because how do I say, lessen who I am because maybe somebody doesn't like me out there. Because the truth is, there's going to be a lot of people that don't like me.
No, you don't have to lessen yourself to clear an issue with somebody else.
Yes,
Wow.
you don't. In fact, it won't work. You can't. You can do it, but it's not really changing anything for them. All it's doing is diminishing you and your
Mm.
spirit. And, I call it, so this is a really good example. So I believe, think of a candle, like you light a candle, you know how sometimes they're like, whoo, lots of wick and, it's really fiery. So if we look at our heart, we look at our soul here, and we go, wow, it's lit up. It is a beautiful flame. And then the more we go, no, 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 I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Ooh, they don't like me. The more we do the judgment, that it gets this little tiny flicker. Like
Mm.
now it's tiny, tiny, to the point where it would take just a little bit of a little bit of wind, boom, it's out. And you have to keep working at keeping it going, right? So that little ember of flame, if somebody even still has that, I'm like, okay, come on, let's expand on that. And it's really about learning every day to have it, have it be a nice warm uh extension of your soul and your spirit, and making sure that you're receiving the guidance, because you're the only one that knows whether or not you're in tune with that or not. You know that, and nobody else can define that for you. But sometimes people do, and then we let that flame go. I mean, I had it happen myself. I'm like, oh, I'm not liked. Oh, this person doesn't want to do this, or I'm no longer speaking to this one, or
Mm.
it happens.
Yeah.
Well, when you diminish that, you're diminishing your own light, your own soul, your own spirit, your own
Mm.
spark. And it doesn't do anybody any good. I mean, you can light a million candles, right?
Mm.
Off of one little tiny ember.
Yeah.
But you can't if you let it get all blown out. Then you can't help anybody.
Who is somebody that has helped keep your light burning?
Oh,
You've had this journey of 30 years developing, being a
you.
CEO, being an educator.
I'm going to tell you,
And so,
you and the
oh,
next person that comes. I'm not joking, Chase. I'm not joking. It's
oh
there
man.
isn't. Look at I can't even tell you there's one person, because there's been consistent people in my life. Obviously, there's so many consistent people in my life that help me to remember. My mom's one of them. My mom's my biggest fan. And sometimes on a human level, she's like, I'm upsetting you today, or and I go, yeah, on a but the consistency of who she is about who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing in my world, she's never let that. She's never wavered in that.
Mm.
My sister, my husband, my kids, my family, my teammates. But here's the thing: I have a huge list, and at any given time, some of them will have human moments, and if I tie into them and go, oh, my husband, he thinks I'm amazing. What if he's having an off day? What if he's out
Mhm.
of alignment and he
Or maybe
says something to me
when,
that,
maybe not even if.
yeah, not if,
Yeah.
when, because that happens obviously with everybody.
Mhm.
So it can
Yeah,
never
not
be
just your
about
husband. This
someone
happens to
else.
everybody.
Everybody, yes, everybody. But that's the whole thing, is it's never outside of me. So it's always within here. But what I will tell you is that I can tell whether or not, like, okay, that person is out of alignment. That person is not in connection with their own guidance, and they're giving me information that is not that's out of a wound. That doesn't mean I judge that person. So what I will tell you is that then another person, it's everybody all day long at different times. It's alignment, though. It's knowing when people are really truly aligned with their own essence of spirit, of source, of God within them. And they inspire me. It could be somebody at the grocery store, having a really bad day, and I'm come up with them, and they say something. They could say something just like, "Oh, your hair looks nice today," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I really needed that." It's a physical thing. Who cares about it? But
Mm.
maybe I'm judging myself so much that just have them
Mm.
being noticing me and being kind. That's what does it. And I can promise you, when I watch you expand and grow, and I've seen you in alignment, right, with source, with God, and I've seen you out of alignment, meaning you're just off center with it. So you're not different from me. You still inspire me, because even when you're out of alignment, your quest for getting in and processing your own emotions to actually have you be that inspiration that you know yourself to be, that's a gift to me,
Mm.
right? Most people that are working with me are not going to see me out of alignment. As far as, like, if I'm doing a session with you, if I'm doing a private session, or I'm doing an event where I'm teaching you,
Mhm.
because I made that commitment, I won't do it out of alignment. But you working with me in my business aspect, oh, you're going to see me out of alignment. I'm
Yeah.
just like anybody else. And I have to stop and go, okay, hold on, bring me back in. Because it's not a 24/7 gig. I wish it was.
Mhm.
the ability to be in alignment, do I think we could do it 24/7? Yes. It's a tall order though.
Let's
Because it's
talk
up to
about,
us.
if you want, if you're okay with it, I want
Yeah.
to talk about the meeting that we had before our live event a few months ago that we did. Center for Intuitive Education did an event called Spirit World, where
Yes.
we talked about
Uh-huh.
people, how to process people transitioning through death from one life to the next.
Yes.
And we had a team meeting that was heated. It was
Yes.
very heated. It was charged. It was stressful. Trying to put this live event, because you hadn't done a live event since COVID, right?
Well, I did it in February, but that one was at another resort. It was a different place,
Gotcha.
but
Okay.
I hadn't done one
It was
since
the first one
February.
in a while
And that's the one that
you
yeah,
had
it
done.
been,
Yeah.
been almost a year. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we had a couple people from the team together in your office, and
Yes.
it was like
Ugh.
half freak out mode, half like trying to figure things
Talk
out,
about,
and
yeah.
stressed out of our
Lynn and
minds
her
and whatnot.
humanity
And
in the analytical mind of it all.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was
Yes.
a good, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a mixture of fear and doubt and worry, and just trying to put this dream and vision together that you have
Yes.
been talking about with your team for the last 6 months.
Yes.
I was there. And so in regards to,
Which, by the way, I have to tell you, because if
Yeah.
we're looking at the blueprint, which I don't know how many people look, I mean, you go to the website, you can see what a blueprint looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my bottom lines in image, health and image, is high standard. So
Okay.
what that was all about was I was like, I'm not feeling like we're getting the high standard of what I wanted
I
to
see.
produce.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Right.
And so my action step was set the plan. And I hadn't had, we weren't feeling
setting
like
the plan yet. We were just trying to figure things
we
out.
weren't setting the
And
plan
so my
of this high
question,
standard. Yeah.
and so my question to that is,
Mhm.
with the people that you had in that room at that time,
Yes.
how did those people, because you were not in alignment, few of us
No.
were.
No.
How did those people help you get back into alignment, or even more importantly, sit with you while you were not in alignment?
That you just said it.
Okay.
You gave me the permission by loving me unconditionally in my out of alignment state and saying, hey, listen, I know that you want this high standard. And I know that right now you don't feel like you're reaching it. So you gave me, you kind of helped me to set the plan, right? Because that's my action step in that, to set the plan on how to get back to a high standard without judging me being out of alignment. That's how you did it. And what happened was, for me, I was able to go, okay, hold on a second. This isn't reaching my high standard of what I want. They hear me, because what was happening is I didn't feel like my standard was being heard at the time. And it was going to be like just kind of brushed over. Like, it's okay. Who cares? We'll just, it doesn't matter how it's. And I was like, wait a second, hold on. No, that's not my plan. I have to have a high standard for the students that are coming through this. It's very important to me. And I didn't want to have it happen. And you heard me in that, and you didn't judge me, and you listened. You guys listened to me in such a way that says, okay, got it. Hang on a second. And I stopped being so emotionally triggered by not feeling heard in the standard that I wanted. And for you, you might have said, well, you know how some people are like, well, it's good enough. I know what's your problem. And it's like, well, yeah, but you heard that it didn't matter whether it was about your standard. You heard me in the standard that I wanted without judging me. And it got a little heated until then. And then we both were like, well, not just both, who were in the room.
It was everybody, yeah.
You guys said, hold on a second. Let's make this happen. And I had gotten so emotionally charged by it, right? So my expression was off. I wasn't being indirect anymore. Now I was in my, my righteous part. Like, I want this to be the way I need it to be. So all my emotions were completely triggered. And you gave me the space, you guys in the room gave me the space to work through my disappointment. And I worked myself through it and then set the plan of, okay, what's the result we want?
Yeah.
And you came together with that. And my result is grateful. And I was nothing but grateful. And it was beautiful.
And it led to a great event.
Beautiful.
It led to
it was a great event.
It led to an awesome time. And it came in full circle, and it was repaid, because I had a similar kind of
Did
happening
you?
towards the end, and I had to work through some of my own stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was a big night.
But even that, you did. You said it got repaid, meaning
Yeah.
we were with you in your. How many people, like, if you could say, in fact, this is what I do most
Do
of
we
the
want to
time.
go into that? We can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I say to somebody, hey, listen, you're out of alignment, or if I own it myself and say, I know, and it's getting a little lingo-y. Out of alignment just means I know what it's like to be in alignment with God, with source, with my divine wisdom within me. I absolutely
In alignment,
know
like being connected to God, like you can
Connected.
feel that connection is there,
where
and you're
it's
living your
palpable.
day like God is with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
On all levels, emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally. Like you're like, boom, it's here. And unshakable. And then there's that place where it's like, whoop, hold on. I'm getting things are taking me off course here. So you're out of alignment. The best thing you can do to somebody is say, hey, I'm out of alignment. That's what you did. You actually kind of, you owned, I'm out of alignment here. And you removed yourself instead of having the energy, which, by the way, I could be screaming at the top of my lungs. You could say nothing and our energy sounds the same.
Yes. I'll give some context as to what happened.
Please do.
Because it is a good story.
But that's important, I think, for people to get, though. That people think, oh, just saying nothing. I'm like, your energy is screaming.
Oh, I'm a living testament to that. I could sit in the corner of a room, dead silent, and you can say something is off, and it's from me.
Yes, exactly.
Because I don't need to say much for you to feel what I'm feeling.
And sometimes I always think, God, I wish you would. I wish you would scream.
Oh, totally. Like I could totally communicate.
And you're
like,
stop screaming. I wish you'd get silent. And
I'm the opposite.
I mean, true.
Yeah, but context to this event.
Yeah, please.
So we have that meeting. I think that meeting was 3
It was
days
like
before.
a couple days before. Yeah,
it was a couple days beforehand. We figure out the plan and we're executing it. We're feeling really good. We get to the event space the night before. We set all the AV tech up. We kind of do a run through the slideshow and make sure the camera shots are right, audio's good.
Yep.
Feeling
checking
great.
all the things off.
All the bells and whistles. We felt great that night. We're like,
yes,
we're good. Saturday rolls around. It's an all-day event. And so we show up there. We get ready. We're set to go. We're all excited. Live stream is up and the conversations are being had. And it's a very difficult topic, being death, to process. And we are processing with people live on those who are passing or those who have passed, and trying to clear things.
And just how they're dealing with it and how to stay connected through such a difficult
situation, which is something that a lot of people avoid, where if it's a conversation that you wanted to have with somebody who passed and couldn't, and if there's a lesson
guilt
to be
maybe
learned,
left there,
that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, as the event was going on, just the topic of death for me is still so hard. I became so unrested. Like I don't know what a good word for it is.
That is a good word for you.
It was overwhelmed, and I was. You can tell.
Overwhelmed by the unrest that you were feeling.
And I was. You could tell. Because some of the team members said it. Corey was one of the people who said it, especially. She's like you, and she's very direct. Like you can tell, like I'm sitting behind the camera, making sure everything is good, and you could feel in the whole room something is. I'm a ball of energy. Like I'm stressed, I'm anxious, and we hit our lunch break, or kind of our intermission, and I was sitting outside in the corner by a tree.
Yeah, but I loved that you chose
trying to decompress.
You knew enough to remove yourself and to give yourself some kind of energy. I'll
say that's half true. It was also to kind of seek attention and get help, even though
without
I wasn't asking for it.
Okay.
I wanted to be like I always did this even as a kid.
No, this is good. This is really good because people are going to understand that they do that too. It's
exactly,
like your silence is so loud.
I was the guy sulking in the corner. I was like, what I felt like was the 8-year-old me sulking in the corner, hoping somebody cared enough to be like, hey, are you okay? Even though I had no capacity to talk because I had no idea what was happening.
And everybody else is thinking he's being responsible with his energy, moving his energy out to kind of refresh. Did you know that?
Yes. Yeah. I knew I was affecting the room.
The perception, right?
Yeah. I knew I was affecting the room, and I knew some people didn't know why they were feeling the way they were feeling. So I'm like, I'm just going to go over here so they can focus. And we wrap up the event. The event went great in of itself. It was
Oh, yeah,
wonderful. Lots of
it was
processing
amazing.
happened, and we pack up, and then we have a big team dinner at the Airbnb we were staying at. We
Yep.
were chatting and we were talking, and I'm still thinking about how I was feeling. Like everybody in the room, and this is our team. So we
This is our
have been
team. This is what
educated
we
on
do.
our stuff. We know who
Yep.
we are, and we all have access to each other's blueprints, and so we know how we process.
Yes.
And one of our team members looked at me at the other side of the table, and I'm still kind of sulking, and I'm kind of in my own head, and she said, "Chase, if you don't figure out what's happening right now, you're not getting anywhere in this." Like she was like frustrated that I wasn't paying attention to it. And I still at that point didn't know what was wrong, but I knew if I dug deep enough, it was going to be an outburst. Like I was going to be
Well, you
a
were
well
aware
of
that
tears, which
something
I
was gonna
was. Like
shift.
it hit me
Yes.
hard.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what the people around me, what they surrounded me and helped me figure out is the reason why I do what I do was off. And that's a big thing to realize. Like the
Huge.
things that I invest
That's a
myself
life-changing
in
moment
church
right there.
leadership, in this podcast, in my business, in everything, in my leadership, in my church, it wasn't serving my relationship with God the way I needed it to. And man, it broke me. It broke me. I was so scared. I was terrified. And I'm not a big crier. Like I don't cry often, but when I do, it is a well of emotion that releases, and I choose to not really control it, because if I do, it's not going to come out. It's not going to get out. And so, I just had, it was just this moment of realization, release, fear, it's just terror, really, because I felt my support system was threatened. I feel like my purpose in life was threatened because everything was realized and changing.
Yeah.
And
well, you knew things were going to change out of you.
I knew things were going to change because I knew what I had to do after I had that kind of realization.
Yeah.
And you, as a human being, cannot reach the potential that God has for you if you are not real with yourself. Like if you keep suppressing what God has given you, good luck living the life you want to live. I'm not saying that negatively. It just won't happen.
It's just
like
true.
It's 2 + 2 does not equal 3.
Yes.
Like it doesn't work like that. And that was a pivotal moment. And when I tell you, I have never been closer to God before in my 10 years of what I call discipleship, of being a follower of Christ. It has revolutionized how I interact with God, how I interact with other people who interact with God or people who don't. All because I had people who were willing to sit with me. And the whole concept of creating space for people, that's what they did for me, but they didn't let me sit in it.
No.
You know, what Corey said is like, we are getting you through it, but we're going to sit with you in it before we can get you through it.
100%.
Not a lot of people have that these days.
Well, I don't think I would question. I wonder if some people have ever had that.
Yeah. And it's
right? Because you got to love somebody and love truth enough, love the truth of them enough. Let me say it that way. Have no judgment and love the truth of them so much that you're willing to go through when it's messy.
It's love in action.
I got to tell you,
love
it's
is
messy.
an action.
Yes. Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. Love is an action. Because again, it's a little messy. You get pushback. You get, hey, it's not comfortable. And what happens sometimes is for me, I step back a bit and say, let me know, because I'm a lot, and I'm going to go right to the core. I'm going to get to the root of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to talk about, you're not going to, clip the grass and clip a weed on the top. We're going to go to the root. Yeah. Huh?
It's a no sugar added conversation.
It is a no sugar added. Yeah. We are not going to frost over anything.
Yeah.
But when I do that, I have to also make sure that people are really saying, yes, I want that. Because I've told you, I've shown you this before in different things that I have people that go, no, I really do want you to help me. But they get hit here. They're saying yes. But when you right to the root of it, they're
Which
And
is
I've
what
had
I
people
was
that
when
go,
I was sitting at the tree.
That's exactly
It's
what
exactly
you were
what
doing
I
at the
was. I'm like,
tree.
hey, I need help.
You're like, please
Mm-hmm.
help me,
Mm-hmm.
but if here at your heart, you're covering it. You're like, help me. Now there's other people that go, I don't want anything to do with you. And then they have this. Yeah. And you're like, well, why do I feel like you do? Because their heart is saying, yes, please help me.
Yeah.
Please help me. But they're saying no on the external level. Now, I have learned in 30 years, when somebody says no, what you are saying to me is no, does not, I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm invoking my own free will. You better listen. Because if you go against it,
Interesting.
you now hurt you. The poison's in you. And I've unfortunately been at the effects of that. I didn't listen to a no. And I also did too much of this. Yeah. It was it. So now it's a yes. Bring it
So
on,
then how
Lynn.
can you
I
help
want to
somebody
know.
through that who
You love them.
let's say
love
for
them through it and
example,
don't judge them.
you love them dearly. Let's say it's my mom, for example.
Yeah.
I love my mom to death. Let's say she's like this right now, or cameras
Yep.
are here. She's like this right now. And how do I, as her son who loves her to death, still offer myself as a help, but not
Harm yourself in the process.
not
of
just
that.
harm myself, but not damage the relationship by pushing myself onto her, if that makes sense.
Well,
because if
that's a good
she's
way to say
saying
that.
no,
It is damaging of the relationship, but the truth is, if you're damaging the relationship, you're hurting yourself as well. So hear
Right.
that, and the same. So what I would say is that's where clearing conversations come in to say, I really feel, you could even say, I really feel like you're doing this to me and I don't like it and it hurts my heart and I really wish it wasn't, but I don't know if it's something I'm saying, if it's something I'm just going through, what we're going through right now, but I need you to know that even a little space, it's okay to take a little space right now, but you need to know that I'm here. I'm ready for any conversation you want. And if we keep coming together without it actually getting resolution, which I've had those, I'm in some of those relationships where it's like, okay, we need a little more time, but you can't give too much time because there's a thing I was looking at that says, children I think it's called no contact or something. And I want you to hear, I'm all for people understanding. Sometimes they put up such barriers and it's something that right now that people are going through called no contact. And they're basically just, I want no contact with you. They're cutting off.
I heard that too. Like just like kids,
yeah.
like just completely separating themselves from their family.
Now, I'm a proponent for you got to do it for whatever time you need to. But if you don't deal with it ultimately, you're literally you're going to now pass that along because that's the whole point of the negative ancestral patterns. You're either going to pass that along in the relationship or you're going to pass it along at your workspace. You can't do it forever. You have to go in there and do some of the, I call it the messy work. You got to get in there. But if we want to diffuse it for a little bit, okay. Time is a beautiful thing for us to be able to diffuse. What I would say if you were having that with somebody you love so much, that means the world to you, actually have that conversation. Mom, whatever I'm doing or however I'm being is clearly causing you to either do more of this. And I don't want that. So I want to wait until if you either want to have a conversation with me, but I need you to know that I actually can and will be here when you're ready for that. And just know that over here, I love you and I miss you and I want to be around you, but I can't do that if it's going to be damaging to our relationship. And I'm going to respect it so we don't put damage there. But do you see where I didn't slam the door shut?
Yeah. It's a lovingly
it's so important.
Put the ball in their court, tell them you love them, but it's not something you can force.
You can't force it.
When
somebody says this,
you can't.
They mean that.
Yeah.
You have to wait till they're like, yeah, come on. Now, I have to wait, especially that it's this, because I am going to go to the deep core issue.
Yes.
Some people are like, they can, how do I want to say this? I can meet up with somebody. Like if you and I said, hey, we're going to meet up for something, and I know there's a deeper issue here, we can actually do a superficial, hey, how you doing? With both of us understanding there's a deeper core issue that has to be addressed. We're gonna have some, I'll call it surfacey kind of, time together. But we both know that deeper issue has to be addressed.
Loosening the dirt so you start digging.
Right. Yeah. And if it's not right now, or somebody says, hey, I just can't do it right now. Okay, great. I've had that happen in my life too, where it's like, I just can't yet. Yeah. You can't do it forever though.
Right.
Because if you do it too long to where now you're not receiving what you need out of the relationship, now you're doing damage to yourself.
If somebody were to come to watch this episode and
Uh-huh.
and they are saying, hey, there is something in me that I'm not listening to, or there's something here that's resonating with me.
Mm-hmm.
What can somebody do? What can that person do today to begin that process of getting in touch with God or their human intuition or that connection that they have been suppressing? What can somebody get up immediately from this podcast episode and just start doing to get their way to that alignment that we've been talking about?
It's a great question. And, obviously, that in the whole reason why people used to ask me this, and that's why I built the curriculum with the team that I had, because I was like, well, it's a stepping stone. You
Yes,
have to know
exactly.
your emotional, you have to know what's happening with you emotionally, whether you are living true to yourself, whether you're in your truth, whether you're living from such a hurtful place or anger, or you're all the way numb. But what you can do first, the very first thing. So again, my first thing is I would take the first module in order for you to really identify, like, I know what's going on for me and my emotions, because you have to take personal accountability for the emotions that you're having. That day that you were talking about, I had to go, wow, I'm in righteous. And then I would kept going into, which is my hurt, my anger. And I kept going in disbelief of, like, you're not hearing me. I want a different standard. Like, I was toying between those emotions. And when I finally was able to, like, really feel them and stay in direct, I was like, oh, they are hearing me now. I am being heard. Now we can do what we need to do. So I would say journal it out. Find somebody who is, this is my favorite thing to say to people. If I called you, Chase, and said, hey, listen, I need an ear. I need a non-judgmental ear. You're going to hear a lot. Please don't fix me. I just need to purge it. You have to say, though, yeah, I can handle that today.
Mm-hmm.
Or not today. Can't handle it. Like, I can't handle any more coming at me. Please find someone else. So do you see how responsible that could be? If I said to you,
Yeah.
Chase, I got to purge something, and it's going to be the good, bad, and ugly, man. It's going to be all of my emotions that just feel like I'm dumping on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to know that you're strong enough and in alignment with God, with source, with your spirit, that you're not going to take it on or try to fix it. I just need you to hear me. And if you say, yep, good to go for it. It'll help me just having somebody to do that with. Or you have to be able to say, I can't do it today.
Mm-hmm.
Please find someone else. Do you know how responsible that is? And most people don't do that. They just come in the door from work and blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't even ask permission to vent.
Right.
Because venting means I'm not looking for the solution. Venting means I'm trying to purge the emotions, and the solution will come after the purge, because it always does. The solution will come after the purge, but you got to have a responsible conversation in purging with somebody that is willing to listen. Journal it out. A lot of times I always tell my husband, don't look at my journals, boy. They're like, I get on there and I type it out. I'm like, you really don't want to hear that. I should hit delete sometimes after it, but so you purge it out, but it's like you're purging all that emotional baggage. Okay. That's two really good ways. Or you could do a meditation where you're able to, like, really give it all up. And everybody does it differently. You could exercise it out. But if somebody's having a hard time really connecting, it's because there's too much human chatter, human judgment. Sometimes of yourself too, self-judgment. You have guilt, you have things that you haven't. But if you can purge it out and have somebody really, truly listen to you and hear you, or you journal it to the point where they can understand it. I mean, when you're done, you go, whew, I feel better. But you got to do it responsibly. And most of us aren't. This is why so much conflict is happening right now in our world, because we're just, we don't want to be quiet anymore, but we're just purging it out there to people that can't do a damn thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the cursing, but people that can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to look and see, can this person do anything about it? And if they can't, you can vent it out if they accept it. And if they can't, then it'll give you the ability to go to the person that can do something about it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Does that help?
I think that helps a lot. And journaling is something that I've been a huge proprietor of. And what I'll do, I have my iPad right here, and what I'll do is here's the thing. I hate the feeling of writing on paper and pencil. I don't know why. I've had it since
Oh,
I
a
was,
lot of people,
I had it
a lot
since
of
I
people
think
have.
5 or 6 years old.
Some
And
people have the
so
opposite. They love it.
some people have the opposite
They
and
don't
they
want to
need it.
type
And
it
so
out,
I'm
right?
getting goosebumps you can see it just thinking about the feeling. I can't handle it.
Wow.
It gives me shivers. And so I'll have my little Apple Pencil and I'll write down on my iPad. And I do kind of a hybrid. And so what I'll do is I'll write down if I don't know where to start, which I think is a hard part for a lot of people. Like they open up,
Well,
like,
but
no,
but
they're
you
all
can
ready.
also get
They're
some
in their
help with somebody
environment.
you
They got their
trust.
book, they got their coffee, and they're ready to go. And they're like, oh, what
Yes.
the heck do I say?
But
What I'll
again, Chase, that's where I would, maybe you call somebody that you would go, you get them, listen to this. You might get a message, hey, call Lynn, or
Yeah.
hey, call my mom, or hey, call my friend, my roommate, or hey, call, somebody I'm working with.
Yeah.
That's where intuition comes in, because they might be able to help you zero in and then you do the rest.
What I'll say to that, I think that's a great idea. What I'll say to that is I don't think people have to. They can.
I agree.
They
agree.
can. But what
Yeah.
I start with most of the time is I start with what I'm thinking. I think in a voice. I've
Yes.
heard studies that some people think in a voice and some people don't.
Yeah.
But what I'll start with is I don't know what to say right now. And I
That's
swear to
perfect.
you, after I
Boom.
say that,
Opening.
it floods. Just pages on pages on pages. And I'll talk about something that frustrated me that day, or other things that I'll do. Every journal entry that I do is anything that's stressing me out or that's going to cause me not to sleep. I write it down. And the key thing for me, because that's just dumping for me at that point. It's not going to do much. But
the insight hasn't come through yet.
yes.
Okay.
And in every single time, the very last thing I say is, Father, God, I surrender all of this to you, period.
Love that.
Nothing else. And
Love
I kid
that.
you not, some of the best nights of sleep I ever had. Do I think
because
God?
you have purged it, and then you waited for the insight, or you set it up for the insight to come after.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So
Does that sound like what you're saying?
I no longer made it my responsibility to solve something I can't control.
That's beautiful.
But what it allowed me to do, I listed out what stressed me out, which is now this whiteboard right here is my to-do list. And so what I did now is write down what my to-dos are. I figured out what I can control and what I can't control.
Okay.
So I write down what I can control, put it on that whiteboard, and focus on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I gave it a place to live. Therefore, I can now do it. And so
what's interesting is that you're not, it sounds to me like you're not fixing it in the process of that. It's kind of like you're leading up to, it will happen in the allowance of God's spirit to come through that voice, right? Through your intuition.
Yes, I'm more separating what I can do and what I can't do, because what stresses me out are the things I can't control.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if I'm not doing what I know I should be doing, that will also stress me out. And so what I can do and what I can't do become one and the same. And I have to re-separate them again and focus on the things I can do. And so, for example,
I love that you have, because everybody has this, and this is what I really encourage. A lot of times, even in the work that the curriculum and such, we talk about, releasing old beliefs that were patterns that worked at some point in your life, but they don't work anymore. And so you really then establish like how your lessons learned, how your new patterning is. And one of the things that I love what I'm hearing from you is that you have it's like you have the rhythm of how, when I get so far out of my alignment, how you move yourself back in, and you know it. Mm-hmm. So one of the key things that when people go, well, how do you know? I go, first of all, when you're in judgment, own it. Like, own it. The first thing you can do is own that and go. And that's what you go when you're saying that first sentence, you're basically owning, I'm out of alignment. I know it. And boom, as soon as you do that, that allows you to have the opening of clearing that's going to come next. And
it gives yourself the space to do that if you don't have somebody to give it to you. You can give it to yourself.
You can, for sure. There's no question about that. Yeah. And I really do feel like, now I offer that to both sides of it. The reason why I said that is because we also have a lot of people that are very much loners, that they're going to figure everything out themselves.
Yep.
And sometimes that doesn't always lend to, basically you have to know when's the right time for that. Sometimes, you are responsible for your own accountability and what your awareness is. We're all responsible for our own. But there are times when sometimes I'll get a message like, grab a book. There's a particular book, and I'll flip the page and I'll read something in that book the Bible's a great one,
Mm-hmm.
right? You might get a verse that boom pops in and it's like, go to that verse, because
Can't
it's
tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I don't know what to read. I will just flip to a random page
flip
in the Bible, put my finger
it's
down. I'm like, that's what I
guide
needed.
me to know what is the truth for me and where I need to go. That's part of why when we talked about the cards, I mean, I have these inspiration cards and everybody goes, oh, I go, hold on, don't make them anything that they're not. What I'm telling you is they're like a nudge that sometimes I'm like, well, what do I need to, I need to know. It's no different than me picking up a book or calling you, or like I said, what's the verse in the Bible that actually is going to awaken me to what I need to know?
Mm-hmm.
It's no different. They're resources that will trigger something within you that has you go, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
Boom. And allowing our own energy, right? Our own spiritual energy to guide us at times when, maybe we don't have somebody that we can talk to, or maybe, we can't get in the car and take a drive and let our mind just, flush. A lot of people have that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Lynn, we've talked about
I know. I was going to say the
much
same
today.
thing.
We talked about the blueprints and kind of your business. Talked about kind of your upbringing, or your bringing into intuitive development. I really didn't know that it was your eldest son who was like, intuitive development. That's it. That's a wonderful thing. How to process.
And you know what I have to tell you is interesting about that, because it was intuitive development, and then obviously, and I still own it. I mean, intuitive development is still the founding company. I still own that. But what happened was then I was like, we have to now educate people. So it's the Center for Intuitive Education. Went from, we've developed it, now we're going to do intuitive education, right? So it's bringing it's kind of its own flow.
Yeah,
I guess is a way to say that.
It's a beautiful way to look at it. With all of that being said, we have kind of our takeaway, our kind of our big 3 items that can really help people just move through something in the moment that they're feeling. They can start journaling and start with, hey, I don't know what to say. If they're having a problem, reach somebody or contact somebody that they value and that they trust. It's kind of like our big 2. And ask permission. Hey, can I share this? I need to share this with somebody. Do you have?
You have to tell them. Am I venting? But you have to know. Hey, I'm just in the venting.
But you have to know if you're really actually getting it out or if you're venting. Yeah. If somebody,
hold on, I have a question. Because have you ever worked with somebody that you're trying to give them? You might even have the solution. Here you go. Here's the solution, and it is the solution. But they're still venting. And you're handing them a solution, and they're like, "I'm not ready for it yet."
Many times.
Sometimes. But that's why you have to actually ask the person permission.
Yes.
I want to vent. And then you'll be like, and then it's like, okay, now would you like a solution?
Yes.
Do you see the difference? It's so freaking powerful, isn't it?
Yes. You can be that very person to whoever is watching. So let's say they've gone through these steps. They're feeling pretty good. They want more help. And Center for Intuitive Education can be something that can help them. How can they find it? How can they reach the curriculum?
Perfect. Yeah. All they have to do is go to that centerforintuitiveeducation.org, O-R-G. And when you go on there, you'll see the programs. If you're looking for like personal, like you want me personally to be in maybe a one-on-one session with you, lynnmbunch.com. So both of this. And the truth is you can go to the Center for Intuitive Education, look up their private sessions. Boom, I'm there. Click on that. You can't miss me.
Wonderful.
So either way, and I have to tell you, we do events as well. So anything that also, I want you to realize that we have incredible trainers that have done this work, that are certified in this. And I've got to tell you, like if you go through the curriculum, you're going through it with the trainers, and they're my personal friends, they're personal teammates of mine. I mean, we do this together. So, it's a community that has nothing but support at the basis of who we want and how we want to help people get into, a different level of consciousness for themselves. Oh my gosh, I have to deal with this. It flies back.
Well, Lynn, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys got something out of it today. Again, if you want to find the curriculum, if you want to find a way to get started, go to centerforintuitiveeducation.org. Or if you want to work directly with Lynn, go to lynnmbunch.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much.